I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. Today is Thursday, May 22nd, and the energies in the day adds up and reduce to number 9 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. So whenever the number 9 is present on a day like today, the number 9 brings out humanitarianism. It brings out community. It brings out the collective. It brings out coming together for the greater good of the whole. And the day is the 22nd, and the number 22 energy, the master builder energy, it's very similar to the number 9, as both those numbers come together and they serve so much to the point that they tend to neglect self. Where the number 22, the number 2 energy is present and it's actually amplified because it's doubled. And that's like being a mother on steroids, a mother to everyone but yourself. If that energy is operating in the lower frequency to itself, similar to the number 9 energy, the day adding up and reducing to the number 9 vibration. The number 9 is or can be a chameleon. When it's operating in a lower frequency, it dismisses itself, it dismisses its own needs and just go with the flow. It goes along to get along. So with the energies in the day adding up or reducing to the number 9 vibration, some things can come up today around us pretty much going along to get along in some cases, or dealing with a situation where someone is not being authentic when it comes to their true needs, their true desires. Instead, they're avoiding rocking the boat because they don't want to deal with conflict. But when it comes to an energy like this, and just in life in general, is like whenever we try to avoid conflict by going along to get along, most of the times it blows up in our face or blows up in the faces of others. It becomes problematic. Because this is where a person will find themselves feeling resentful and feel like other people are trying to control them. Other people are trying to dictate their lives. And I think this happens because when I think of, like, say, the number 9 vibration and how it's such a chameleon type energy, and how within all of us at some point we were fearful when it came to rocking the boat or going against the status quo. I think of the honeymoon stages in everything, and how in the beginning we'll try to blend in by being whatever we think the other person needs, or being whatever we think the situation needs at the moment to accept us. And then once we get a little bit comfortable within the situation, comfortable within the dynamic, then we start to want to bring forward the true parts of ourselves. I think of, like, say, a person that might have strong number 5 within their birthday or energies, strong number 3 within their birthday numbers. And they might also have, like, say, Scorpio, or Scorpio, Cancer, Taurus. It could be other signs, but I'm just naming those for a bit. And say when this person meets new people, they might be a bit clingy and wanting to be around the person all the time, only for time to go by and they start feeling like the other person is being clingy. They feel like they can't breathe. But in the beginning of the relationship or the connection, they gave off the impression to the other person that they were the type of person that likes to stay close, when really this person needs their freedom. They require a lot of space. And I feel like this is because in the beginning, we connect with people from a space of trauma. We connect with people from a space of wounds. So it's almost like needing to feel like we can trust them by needing them to be around us all the time. So we show up in a certain way when that's not who we are, where when we get to the root of the trauma or whatever it is that we're dealing with, we realize that we need space in our connections. We need time to ourselves. And I go back to the number 9 frequency, how it will show up in a connection being everything other than what it is, being everything that the other person needs other than what it actually or truly is. And I think this is where some people could struggle with imposter syndrome, because they feel like there's parts of them that others haven't seen. And if others do see these other sides of them, they might not see them as lovable. And, you know, when it comes to, say, a day like today, the number 9 brings out endings where things either evolve to the next level, something comes to an end and it evolves to the next level. I think of a relationship, a friendship, or a romantic connection where there's a disagreement and the people stuck it through, and they, you know, everybody involved wanted to understand the connection better, understand each other better, wanted to be understood. It wasn't about who was right or wrong. It wasn't a competitive thing. And from, you know, sticking it out, something comes to an end in the connection, but it only gets deeper as it evolves to the next level. Or something comes to an end today and that's just it, it's done, and it makes space for something else. And it's important for us to know when to let go and be okay with letting go, knowing that the ending is always the beginning. If something ends in your world, it's because space was made for something else. And we have to work on surrendering and being patient so that we don't occupy the space that's made for something that we actually do want. Out of fear and insecurities, we can occupy that space with something that doesn't deserve being there. Like, I think of a friendship coming to an end or a relationship coming to an end, and the person kind of like spin the block and, you know, hit up someone from the past that, you know, things didn't work out with the person from the past, but they spun the block. They hit up the old friend, they hit up the old ex or whatever, just out of fear of being lonely. And now they fill this space that was available for something new. But I guess if they spun the block, it showed that, you know, the frequency, they haven't yet embodied that frequency within to support this new thing that they want. So I guess, you know, we're never on the wrong path. But something wants to, you know, end today to make space for something else. And that thing that comes to an end to make space for something else could just be a mindset, a way of thinking, a way of seeing things. And going back to the day being 22 in that master builder energy, 2 + 2 is 4. And the number 4 energy brings in a need for stability, a need for security. I feel like on a day for like today, some of us could find ourselves questioning, could I have done more? Can I have done more when it comes to this situation? What more can I have done? And, you know, some of us might be questioning, like, when this thing comes to an end, will I be enough by myself? And this is where we have to pour into ourselves. When I think of the master builder number 22, how its worth can come from, you know, the service that it does for others. I could see how some of us could find ourselves in situations where, you know, people are just taking, because the number 22 energy, it feels value at the thought of giving, but this is where givers need to be with other givers. Because imagine being in a friendship or a connection where you're someone who's a giver, you love to give, and you're with someone who's also a giver, a genuine giver. And both of you guys are in a connection that almost would seem as if you're in competition with who could outgive the other. Like, that's the most beautiful thing. And I feel like there's that giving aspect to the number 22 and the number 9 vibration when it's operating in a higher frequency, but giving genuinely, not giving to compensate for not feeling enough. Because I feel like that's something that can happen when this energy is operating in a lower frequency. And today, we look at the moon that is at 29 degrees in Pisces, getting ready to go into Aquarius, and Saturn conjuncts the moon. So Saturn will conjunct the moon for a little bit when it goes into Aquarius. Aries. Saturn is, the moon is in Pisces. It conjuncts Saturn, but maybe by the time you're watching this, it's already in Aries. So the moon is at a very intense spot as it's getting ready to move from one sign into the other. And with the moon conjunct Saturn, the moon is our inner world, it's our inner conversation. And I love that it's speaking positively to Mercury, which also reflects how we communicate, the kind of information that we consume. So both the moon and Mercury energy are communicative energy. The moon energy is how we're speaking to ourselves when no one's looking. Mercury is the kind of information we like to consume, where we place our attention, how we speak, and how we process information, just to name a few. And I like that there's a trine between the moon conjunct Saturn, Mercury conjunct Uranus conjuncts the sun, and Pluto in Aquarius. So with this trine, there's, the inner world, the moon and Mercury, how we're communicating, changes that are happening in our connections with Pluto and Aquarius. There's harmony happening in all these areas of our lives. And I feel like it comes down to, things are changing and we're okay with the change. We're seeing how the changes could be beneficial. The moon today, though, is squaring Jupiter in Gemini. So with the moon squaring Jupiter in Gemini, there's something around how we're nurturing ourselves and either relationships with our siblings, our community, or Gemini energy does also deal with communication. And I think of communication in this sense with Jupiter there as the information that we're consuming, maybe the foods that we're consuming, or just the content that we're engaging in. It feels like something about like the information or certain connections feel like it could be disrupting our peace, because where the moon is right now, it needs introspection, it needs time alone. Even though it's, speaking to Pluto and Aquarius, and Aquarian energy is social energy. So it's interesting. I think, when it comes to say today's energy, hands down, the question is, what are we afraid to let go? And why are we afraid to let go? Whatever it is that needs to go. And like I said, this could be a mindset. This could be, a way of seeing things, or something actually has ran its course. When it comes to the spirit guidance, we have the zebra energy. So the spirit animal reflects the kind of energy that would be beneficial when it comes to bringing balance into the day. And the zebra energy for me talks about standing out, because I look at the stripes on the zebra, but I look at how the zebra blends in with other zebras. And I think of, being clear, it's like we're all alike in a lot of ways, but there are certain things that makes us different, and we have to embrace those differences. And that brings me back to like the energies in the day adding up and reducing to a number 9 vibration, and how the number 9 could be such a chameleon, blending into situations as a part of survival, as a way of feeling safe. And with the zebra energy coming in, coming out, but it came out in the reversal position, is bringing me to something around surrendering. Big time surrender energy comes up today. And like I said, with the day being the 22nd master building energy, for some of us, we could wake up today and find ourselves feeling irritated in a big way, not sure why we're feeling irritated, but there's a feeling of irritation. And that feeling of irritation has to do with our foundation around something. And the question to ask yourself is, where and what about my foundation isn't secure, and what can I do to make things different? First, you want to pinpoint the area of your life. Is it about your finances? Is it about your relationship? Is it about your spiritual beliefs or practices? First pinpoint where is this feeling coming from, and what can I do to make things different? What am I not seeing? And with today being Thursday is ruled by Jupiterian energy, and Jupiter amplifies things today. So if with the number 9 energy, say someone here is struggling with authenticity because of fear of being liked or accepted, Jupiter energy can amplify things to where we overdo it. And with the day being the 22nd, I see the person overextending themselves and their services, and later on could find themselves feeling resentful, and even resent the people that they offer their services to or their energy to, because there wasn't any reciprocity. But we have to remember the truth when it comes to our actions. And, remember, a lot of the times people didn't ask, and in our minds, sometimes we make these contractual agreements with people without their permission, and we give and assume they should know better and give back. And if we find ourselves feeling some type of way about reciprocity, I feel like often it's because we're giving what it is that we can't afford to give, and then not truly being authentic when it comes to our intentions around giving. And the Magician comes out in the reversal position. In the upright position, as you can see with this card, the Magician is making a connection or connecting the energies between what's above and what's below. It brings me to, it's like coming full circle. When I think of the Magician energy also in the upright position, I think of someone tapping into all aspects of themselves, tapping into the earth, the air, tapping into the mental energies, the emotion energy, and like the alchemist creating magic. And all of that is within us. So when I look at the Magician in the upright position, I think of someone remembering who they are and wielding their magic. The way it came out in the reversal position will bring me to the thought of someone who forgets the truth of who they are. And because they forget the truth of who they are, I think of the person who acts like a peasant when really they're royalty, because they forget their truth. When I say act like a peasant, this is where they're begging and seeking acceptance and looking for people to validate them, to lift them up. Let's pause for a bit. I am proud of the services that I offer and excited to tell you about them. If it would be your first time booking with me, then I recommend the natal chart and numerology awareness coaching session. For a while, that was the only service I offered, along with the 30 minutes tarot reading, which is still available if you're interested. I noticed the pattern. At the end of the natal chart and numerology coaching sessions, some of you would ask me for a follow-up service options for additional clarity and guidance to assist you with whatever you're going through at the moment. I kept saying, I'll look into it. I don't know why it took me so long. Finally, I have created that option along with the service option to book a solar return chart reading for those of you who are strategic and like to plan ahead. Everything you need to know is within the description box below. Let's get back into the video. When really they need to lift themselves up. Also with the Magician energy in the reversal position, it brings me to the thought of when we forget our power and who we are. How, for some, it could cause some to be deceptive and manipulative and feel like that's the only way to be. When that's not the truth, that's just a reflection of somebody forgetting their power and the truth of who they are. So when it comes to a day like today, do you find yourself slipping, forgetting that you're powerful, forgetting that you are that magician, that high priest, that high priestess energy? You're connected to the whole. There is nothing that you can't do. Are you forgetting your power in some way? And you could tell you forget your power whenever you are afraid to let go. And you're clinging on to something for dear life because you're afraid of being by yourself. It's like, are you not enough? Are you not good enough? Why you're afraid of your own company, if that is the case. It was a pleasure sharing this message with you. Before you go anywhere, I would love to hear from you by you dropping a brown heart in the comment box below. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.